what's good, Commanders fans? Every Monday I do studs and duds. This is the first studs and duds of the season. It was pretty close to almost a duds and duds for this game. It was almost all bad, but there were some good plays, a couple of good players a couple of players that did make some positive plays in this game. Few and far between, but there were some things that did happen that did go well at times. And then I do want to go over the PFF grades, a couple of advanced stats a little bit here and there. So I do want to go over that and just recapping some players who stood out and who kind of stood out in a bad way as well. I do plan on going live tonight about 8 o'clock just to get the temperature check for you guys and the vibe check, the energy check right after one game. We know we don't want to panic. We have to look forward to the Giants pretty quickly, but we do digest this and get this out of our system and then move on quickly to the Giants. So I just want to talk with you guys and just see how you guys feel about week one and the start of the recalibration or rebuild for the Washington Commanders. But all right, so let's start it with some studs here. I only got like 3 studs, really, honestly. B-Rob was a stud to me, and I really liked the way he caught the ball in the backfield. I liked a couple of runs that he did have. Didn't have any really big, like, explosive runs. He had 12 carries for 40 yards, but it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I said in my preview video, they're a really good run defense. Like, they're not going to allow a running back to just get a shotgun run or a handoff and make an explosive play. That really, really happens against the Bucs. They're more of a defense that gives up passing yards. We weren't able to really throw the ball downfield yesterday either, but they're a stout run defense. Like, Vita Vea is legit. They got a really good run defense, and Todd Bowles is a heck of a defensive coordinator. So, he's a good coach. Really good defensive coordinator, really good defensive mind, and he really knows how to stop the run. The Buccaneers have been stopping the run for years and years and years. That's their identity. So I knew B-Rob was about to just go out there and get 100 yards on the ground. So he ended up with 40 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 catches for 49 yards. He had the one that was that the one where he should have had a touchdown, but they called a block in the back or something like that on Alameda Zacchaeus. But I thought he played pretty well. He had the 1 touchdown. I thought he was really, really close on one where he put the ball like right at the goal line. And they said he did not get in, but it is. We ended up scoring on that drive anyway. Austin Eckler, so both running backs were really good. Austin Eckler led the team in receiving, 4 catches for 52 yards. No touchdowns, but I think he will get in the end zone. And 2 carries for 10 yards, but he was more of a receiving back. Thought he did a solid job blocking. We're looking at the PFF number here real quick for his pass blocking grade, if they do have that in here. Where is Austin Eckler at? He had a 62.3 overall PFF grade. 73.2 passing grade, 24.6 pass blocking grade. So I guess he was not good blocking for Jayden, but receiving wise, he did a really good job. He was very shifty. They missed the face mask on him where the guy pulled his face mask and turned his helmet around, and they didn't even call it. 60.6 running grade and a run blocking grade of 60.3. But I thought he was pretty shifty. He made some guys miss. He had a couple yards after the catch, and he was basically Jayden's favorite target out there. So I think he's gonna get a lot of catches this year for sure. I do want to see a receiver like Terry McLaurin get more targets though, and get more receptions and get more yards in an ideal situation. That's really how it should be. But Austin Eckler was the best receiver out there yesterday. So him, and then Jayden's legs. I'm not gonna give Jayden the full stud, but his legs I thought were incredible at times. Like, he really was a cheat code out there. He really made some guys miss. He just has to learn how to slide instead of rolling. He had a scramble for 9 yards. He had a scramble for 17 yards on a 3rd and 4. Like, that's where Adam Peters was like, he can take the soul out of a defense, and where, GMs were reportedly scared to death. He just has to get the touchdown field with Terry. He has to hit that, get the jitters out. The pass behind B-Rob where he threw it for negative 10 yards. Just has to get the jitters out and play under control. He did miss Ertz, who was open over the middle. He got sacked. He did miss Luke McCaffrey on 1 pass, but they called a pass interference. So, I think he just has to settle down, kind of just see what the defense is giving him, and, take advantage of those opportunities, especially downfield with Terry McLaurin. You got to hit that play because, that's what we raved about him at LSU, and just his touch down the field. He had that beautiful pass in preseason to De'Ami Brown, and then he misses the layup to Terry McLaurin down the field. So you got to capitalize on those opportunities. So that was the knock on Jayden for me. But Jayden, you look at his PFF grade. He was actually the worst rated guy on offense. He was the worst rated offensive player on offense per PFF. His passing grade was a 36.3. So I guess there were some things that he did not see or that he was missing. Was he missing Terry McLaurin? Was he missing the check down? Like, what was he missing out there to make him have a 36.3 PFF grade out there. So he had a 74.6 running grade, which we clearly saw. Like, he was incredible scrambling. He was incredible evading the rush. He was incredible extending plays and extending drives at some points. But throwing wise, he has a lot to. I'm not gonna say a lot, but he has something to work on for sure. And he had a 60.0 run blocking grade. Don't really care about that. And then a 50.7 overall offensive grade, but he was the worst rated PFF player per PFF. So like I said, you take PFF with a grain of salt, but you do look at it and just use it as a measuring stick. Second and 8, he ran for 16 yards. That was the drive that resulted in a touchdown. And then second and 10, he scrambled right to Tampa Bay's 22nd for 12 yards, and that was the penalty where Antoine Winfield hit him in the helmet, and that helped us get in the red zone to get the touchdown where B-Rob had the touchdown for a 7 yard he had a touchdown. He had a touchdown for 7 yards. But passing wise, I guess there were some things that he was missing, and I know we're blaming Cliff a lot, but what was there? Was Jayden missing some things? Were some guys getting open? I know a lot of the receivers were not getting open either, but what was the reason why he got that poor PFF grade passing wise? All right, I think that's about it for the studs. Jamin Davis a little bit. He had a nice play. I really did like the way I like that tackle for loss that he had. And Jamin, let's see where he came in off PFF wise. Jamin was the highest rated defensive player, 78.8. Run defensive grade at 83.8. He only had 13 snaps compared to other guys like Deron Payne had 39, Dorrance Armstrong had 37, Ben St. Juste had 63 snaps. Frankie Louvu, 58 snaps. Bobby Wagner, 63 snaps. So Jamin Davis didn't play a lot. 71.7 tackling grade and a 52 pressure grade, which is not good at all. But tackling, he did a good job. Defense grade, run defense. I think that tackle for loss really, really boosted his grade. He had 2 tackles, 1 assist, and that 1 tackle for loss out there. So he was a stud for me, or I'll just say he had a good 13 snaps. And I did like the way that Zach Ertz played. Even though he didn't have a lot of targets, he caught a couple tough lasers over the middle. He had 3 catches for about 28 yards, but they were all tough catches over the middle. I think him and Jayden will have a good connection throughout the season. So I think there's going to be a game where Zach Ertz, if he stays healthy, he'll get like 70 yards in a game and like 8 catches or something like that. I really do see that happening. All right, duds. I mean, we have a long list of duds. I'm going to say Jayden's helmet, whatever's going on with that. He's got to strap the helmet on. Cade York clearly was so darn bad. I mean, missed 2 kicks, a 47 and a 56-yard field goal. Barely made an extra point. And then he also kicked the ball out of bounds just to put the nail in the coffin or put the icing on the cake of just being awful. That's what he did there. I didn't like the trade anyway. He lost to Dustin Hopkins with the Browns. He was released by the Browns. He didn't play at all last year because he was not good. He was not good for a reason, or he was not on the team for a reason. And this is clearly it. I see the talent because at LSU he made a crazy 60-yard field goal. He has a big leg and whatnot, but the guy just is not good. He's just not a good kicker at this point. He has the yips or whatever's going on. He's kicking the ball out of bounds. They need to release him, honestly, so we can get our 7th-round pick. I know people don't care about 7th-round picks, but we can get a guy doing the same thing, honestly, and keep our 7th-round pick. We can go out there and get somebody else to miss a kick and kick the ball out of bounds and keep our 7th-round pick. And that's my take on it. I'd rather get the 7th-round pick back than have a guy like Cade York missing kicks and kicking the ball out of bounds. Just give me the 7th-round pick back. That's just my take on it because I didn't like the guy in the first place. All right, Emmanuel Forbes, awful. He was the worst rated PFF defensive player with 33.5. Coverage grade of 30.0, 44.9 tackling grade as well. He did miss a tackle in the beginning of the game. He had the pass interference and face mask on the same play, which was a double penalty, which I've never seen. I'm not going to say I've never seen it before on one person, but it's very rare to see that. And he accomplished that, which is pretty darn bad. He did get benched for Noah Igbenogbe. He also was reportedly had to take an x-ray. I don't know what it was or what it's for. So we'll see what happens if we get an injury update or if he's injured or whatever's going to go on. But they need to play Michael Davis more. Michael Davis got 0 snaps. I think he got special team snaps. But Michael Davis, they need to let that guy play and get some snaps. I say they should have signed Stephon Gilmore. I get it, Stephon Gilmore's old, but he's better than Emmanuel Forbes. And then you look at Christian Gonzalez. Christian Gonzalez had a really good game yesterday against the Bengals with Jamar Chase, and the Patriots won. So I'm not going to put salt on a wound there, but Emmanuel Forbes, I think the clock is ticking for Emmanuel Forbes for sure. All right, duds. Like I said, we got a long list to go with duds. So I'll rapid fire. Ben St. Juste, I'm not going to rag on him too much because he was there in position, but he's just got to turn his head around. Got to turn your head around. 78.6 tackling grade, 59.1 coverage grade, because he was there. Like, he was there with Mike Evans. He was there. It's not like a man force where he's just getting dusted by Jalen McMillan and Chris Godwin. Like, Ben St. Juste is there. So that's improvement there. He's in the vicinity. He's not getting dusted. He's not getting cooked. He's right there with Mike Evans. But Mike Evans is clearly the better player. But he's got to turn his head around. And we've seen this many, many times with Ben St. Juste before in the past. Who else here was a dud? Bobby Wagner to me was not good. I thought his tackling was not great. I know he had a couple of TFLs, but still, just like the screen pass, 3rd and 18 to Chris Godwin, he moved out the way. And then he was slow as molasses on another play where I think Rashad White had a screen pass where he went for a first down. But the 3rd and 18 for Chris Godwin was just ridiculous, where he basically just shifted out of the way. That was so awful by Bobby Wagner. He ended up with a 43.0 coverage grade, 48.2 tackling grade, which is awful, and a 56.3 defensive grade as well. And let's move on to the next dud here. Mikey Samuelson, unfortunately, did not play well. I don't think he played well at all. He had a 40.7 defensive grade, 40.8 coverage grade. It was a baptism by fire kind of game for him. I'm still very high on him. He could be the best pound-for-pound player in the draft, like Nick Saban said. Chris Sims said he could be really good. And then somebody else said he'll be the best slot corner in the league, and comparing him to Mike Hilton, all the media pundits and whatnot. So I still think that's possible for Mikey Samuelson. But this was a good test for him against Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. We know they're top 15, top 10 receivers in the league, and he just kind of got baptized there. So he had a 40.7 defensive grade, 40.8 coverage grade, which is awful. And like I said, he struggled out there. He struggled. He played in 60 snaps, so he played a lot. They didn't bench him at all. They let him play throughout the whole game and just learn and get better and try to get better. And then just moving on from duds, looking at the offensive line, I do want to go over the offensive line PFF grades real quick. Cornelius Lucas and Brandon Coleman, they did share snaps. Brandon Coleman only played 14 snaps, was solid, 65.1 PFF grade, 57.4 pass blocking grade, 67 running grade. He did finish plays. There was one play where Jayden had to scramble. He ran up the field and tried to wreak havoc and hit somebody. So I did like that. And then Cornelius Lucas wasn't awful. Like, he was solid, 69.9 offensive grade, 85.8 pass blocking grade, which is really, really, really good for Cornelius Lucas and really good for any player. So it's not like Cornelius Lucas was a bad player or a liability out there. He played 45 snaps, and then Brandon Coleman played 14. I'm just not a fan of rotating guys, in my opinion. That's just me. And then Trent Scott did play 2 snaps at left tackle as well. So there was somewhat of a rotation there at the left tackle position. So Nick Allegretti, 67.3. Like, the offensive line wasn't bad, and I do think Jayden Daniels does help guys out because of his elusiveness and just making guys miss. Like, he's not going to give up many sacks. He only got sacked twice. Did fumble the ball 3 times, but he's going to help guys PFF grades out a little bit, or just their play anyway, because he's just so elusive, and he's going to get up out of there and scramble. Sam Cosmi with an 81.6, Tyler Biadasz with a 64.9 PFF grade. Andrew Wiley with a 50.6 pass blocking grade, so he didn't have a good game. And then Austin Eckler, like I said, with a 24.6 pass blocking grade out there, which is not good at all. So that's about it. Dyami Brown, 33 snaps, man. Like, I did not see him out there at all. Like, he was not noticeable. Like, the documentary or whatnot, I'm like, bro, you put out a documentary to get 0 catches and 0 yards. I know some of that's on the offense and maybe what Jayden was seeing downfield, but, bro, like, you're just not in the place to put out any type of social media workouts, any type of documentaries. Like, the production you've had over the years, 12 catches is a career high. Like, every year people get duped by highlights and off-season workouts and the jugs machine and whatnot. Like, it's still 16 games, though, but Dyami Brown, man, like, I'm just not a believer. And I didn't want to say it before the season started because everybody was optimistic. Oh, he took Jahan Dotson's spot. And, oh, my gosh, he did so well so Jahan can get traded and whatnot. Or he's wide receiver number 2. And I was like, I'm just not a believer, man. Like, I've seen this guy for 3 years in a row now. I kind of think he is who he is. I think at best he's a number 4 receiver in this league, but I hope he proves me wrong. I really do. I'm rooting for Dyami. I really am. He's been a huge disappointment, though. Run blocking grade 80, though. I mean, he did a good job run blocking, but at the time he was out there, 33 snaps. So let's see who else. Terry Malone had a really bad run blocking grade with 30.5. I think that's about for the duds player-wise. Dan Quinn, I'll rapid fire with him. He likes to do hard stuff with good people, but didn't look like it yesterday. Not going for 2 on the 2-point conversion, down 23-13. Clock management, analytics, not calling the timeout before halftime to stop the clock when right before the Buccaneers' third down, just to give us a chance to get the ball back with at least like 50 seconds left. You never know what Jayden Daniels could do with his legs. Could he run for a first down and get us some field goal range? Even though the kicker is awful, you still got to fight to live and fight to compete. I don't like giving up and not calling a timeout, in my opinion. So I thought whoever, Dave Gardy, just didn't have the wherewithal or the presence of mind to call a timeout. The 12 men on the field to start the game off, him and Joe Witt Jr., they got to get it together. Not going for the 2-point conversion, I said that. Then kicking the 56-yard field goal with a bad kicker. Didn't like that at all. I feel like there's another gaffe that he had coaching-wise and just analytics and decision-making. But like I said, the not going for 2, not calling the timeout, and then deciding to kick the field goal, and then the 12 men on the field was pretty darn bad out there. Cliff Kingsbury with the 3rd and 18 screen pass. Not a big fan of that. And just not enough downfield throws or manufacturing downfield plays or anything like that. Throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage a lot. And I didn't see a lot of the up-tempo that we saw in the preseason. I thought he was a little bit more creative in the preseason than what we saw out there, honestly. It was kind of like just Jayden go make a play. And that was it. Joe Witt Jr., third down defense was awful. Tackling was bad. So I'm not letting Joe Witt Jr. off the hook as well. A lot of miscommunication out there. McMillan was wide open. Millen was wide open in the first quarter. So that should have been a touchdown. They really should have put up 50 points on us. They really should have. But Baker Mayfield missed McMillan down the field in the beginning. And he missed. I feel like he missed another play down the field as well. Bucky Irvin was cooking us in the second half. So the run defense wasn't great in the second half. They got gashed and they got fatigued and tired. And then Baker Mayfield broke every tackle that he could and looked elusive out there. They were not violent like Joe Witt Jr. pre-shows. There was not a lot of violence out there. I didn't see that at all. And so though the coaching staff was a dud for sure. They looked unprepared and just the guys weren't ready to play. They just weren't ready to play. And decision-making was not good at all. So, all right, you guys let me know what you guys think. Was there anything that I missed? Anything that you guys are optimistic about that you think is going to change next week? Like I said, I should see you guys around 8 o'clock tonight on the stream so we can chop it up and have good discourse and dialogue. All right, you guys. Hail Commander as always. Peace.